Oh my, ladies and gentlemen. Normally we're mashing up cars. Today we have about as close of a matchup as you can get. To my left is a brand new 2015 Chrysler 200S with a 3.6 liter V6. And to my right, well, this is a brand new Subaru Legacy with a 3.6 liter Boxer. And get this, they are both all-wheel drive. And this matchup is coming up right now on the Fast Lane Car. All right, here's something that I think is crucial to this matchup. The mid-size family sedan segment is probably the most competitive segment in the American automotive business. There are cars competing for your dollar that are beautiful. There are cars competing for your money that are fast. There are cars competing for your money that have all sorts of different and interesting powertrains. So the question is, what does the Chrysler 200S and the Subaru Legacy bring to the table that makes these cars worth your money? There is some great news under the hood of this Legacy 3.6R and some not so great news. It's this, the Boxer engine. It puts out 256 horsepower and 247 pound-foot of torque. The great news is, check this out, it's a Boxer, just like you get in a Porsche 911. Not so great news is it's paired to a CVT transmission with paddle shifters, but nevertheless, a CVT kills a lot of the joy in driving any car. So, no Boxer here. Instead, it's Chrysler's tried and true Pentastar V6. Same liters, but a lot more power. 295 horsepower, 262 pound-foot of torque. And get this, it's paired to a not 7, not 8, but a 9-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. I've driven both of these cars, and on the engine front, I like the Boxer, but at the end of the day, this is a much more powerful and much more fun car to drive just because it doesn't have a CVT. Stylistically, both cars are meh. I mean, look at that. The Subaru has that new corporate pucker that Subaru is spreading across the entire line. And the Chrysler 200, that to me looks like a jelly bean on steroids. This segment is full of the most beautiful cars sold in America, the Ford Fusion and the Mazda 6. Compared to those two cars, these two are stylistically challenged. So, does it sound like a 911? I'm guessing not, but you have to love those fluted exhausts. Those are pretty cool. All right, brand new Subaru Legacy 3.6R. R versus S, it is. By the way, why do manufacturers go with letters like R and S to express the sportiness of a car? Infinity's gone exactly the other way. A Q, who would have thunk? A Q. I kind of like R and S better, if I'm being honest. All right, let's give it the beans and see how neutral it is. Yeah, neutral. And a little peppy. Not overly peppy. Certainly not overly aggressive when it comes to engine note. You can hear it, but it's more of that kind of sewing machine sound than it is that throaty growl, and that probably has a lot to do with the fact that I've got a CVT. Now, I don't want to belabor this point because you guys have heard it before, but CVTs, at least for me, just take the joy out of driving a car. And the reason for that is when you floor the car, to get optimum fuel economy and performance, the CVT takes the engine note, engine RPM to its peak performance level and keeps it there. And you kind of miss that thing that all of us who grew up with cars, you know, the car going through the different gears, growl, you miss that, and I miss that a lot. So it's hard to separate that from the fact that this is getting much better fuel economy, at least in the city, 2 mpg better. And of course, there it goes. Yeah, it's not bad. It kind of emulates a traditional transmission, so you are getting a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, it's still pretty lousy. Here's something that seems pretty obvious, but let's point it out anyway. Similar engines, similar fuel economy. 1829, 2029. More power, better fuel economy. Personally, more power always wins. I have to give it up to Subaru. They've done a great job in their new interiors. For the longest time, Subaru interiors were, well, let's face it, the most basic in the business. However, this interior is stylish, it's ergonomically correct, it's modern. However, while they have come a long way, I'd say they've come to about the year 2010, whereas the Chrysler, that's probably 2016. So good, but not good enough. All right, if you're keeping track, do so now because we're gonna do a very quick review of utility. The Chrysler has 16 cubic feet of trunk space. It does have these silly gooseneck hinges which get in the way, but on the other hand, it also has a ski pass-through. Let's compare it to the Subaru. Now the Subaru, on the other hand, has 1 cubic foot less at 15. It does have these nice little hinges that are much more elegant in design because they don't intrude into the trunk, and no ski pass-through, but 60 folding split on the rear seat. Let's check the Chrysler. All right, now the Chrysler, yep, 60-40 folding split. So let's see, 1 more cubic foot of space and ski pass-through, winner Chrysler. Let's talk about safety. Camera-based accident avoidance, radar-based accident avoidance. Somewhere in here, I believe. Anyway, both of these cars get an IIHS top safety pick, but the camera-based system gets a 1-point higher rating. Winner, Subaru. The sense I get compared to the Subaru is that this car feels a lot more solid. It feels like it's put together from one piece. Maybe it's because the steering wheel is so thick. Now the seats, on the other hand, look sporty, but guys, a sporty seat is supposed to keep you in the seat around corners. It's not supposed to poke at you from different angles, which this one does. However, the engine note, oh, so much better, and the shifts, crisp. I like that a lot more. Now, I'm not sure you need a 9-speed transmission, but why not? 9 is better than 8, 8 is better than 7, so we have a top dog in this sedan when it comes to at least the number of gears in the gearbox. The driving experience is still somewhat disconnected. It's not hardwired to your brain the way a Mazda 6 would be, but it's much more connected to the road than the Subaru. As always, that's where I drive. I have limited foot room, but kind of, I'm gonna say so-so headroom. Either way, it's not huge. Let's compare it to the Subaru. Oh my, interesting. I have a lot more leg and knee room, but more limited headroom. Overall though, the Chrysler's interior, while more elegant, feels much more confined. This is much more usable. Winner, Subaru. Now in terms of steering feel, one word, none. This car does not feel like it's connected to the road in any way. It's the exact opposite. It isolates and insulates you from the road. There's not a lot of joy in flogging this car around. Steering especially around these corners, is just a little too light for my liking. There's also not a lot of brake feel. I'm going to hit the brakes pretty hard right now. And effective, but squishy. What you want to know is that you can modulate those brakes so that when you're actually in a situation where you need to brake for an emergency or you want to have a little fun with that car, they're almost hardwired to your brain. And this car is very disconnected from my brain. Here's the issue in a nutshell. The mid-size sedan segment is the most competitive segment in America. In order to sell cars and be successful, you have to bring it. You have to have something unique. For instance, the Passat has a diesel engine, the Accord gets 50 mpg, the Fusion and the Mazda are jaw-droppingly gorgeous. These cars, while they have all-wheel drive and 9-speed transmission, it's just not enough to be competitive in that segment. So, on the TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, I'm going to give both of these cars a lease it. There is nothing wrong with these cars. They're good cars, they're solid cars, but when you put them up against the best in the segment, they just don't compete. And if it were my money, I'd get the Chrysler 200 because I love the interior, I love the all-wheel drive, and I love the additional power. As always, this is Roman saying thanks for watching, and check out TFLcar.com for more news, views, and reviews. Ciao. Ain't that cool? That's one of those Easter eggs that Chrysler loves to hide. This car is imported from Detroit, and that is, of course, the Detroit skyline. Now, if you want TFL Easter eggs, if you want to be first in the loop as to what we're filming, get behind-the-scenes videos, and, of course, know that you're supporting a really great cause, check out our Patreon campaign below. Our goal is $1,000. We're halfway there. I don't want to keep bugging you, so please pledge to TFL.